am coming to you to talk about life in the yellow world. Yellow. Um, Endo sucks, like plain and simple. We go through a whole bunch and we experience pain like you wouldn't believe. Like your ovary is just like hurts. And so I was 15 when I was diagnosed, and now I'm 22, and I really decided to dedicate my life, my studies, and my academics to giving hope to women and finding answers. Because when we get diagnosed, it's like, you have this disease, let's do surgery, or you have this disease, take these hormones, you have this disease, here's some pain medicine. But no one ever says, you have this disease, what's going on? How do you feel? What does it feel like? And even when you explain the different types of pain you experience to your doctors, the answers are still surgery, hormones, or pain medicine. And so I've gotten to a point in my journey with endo that I can't take hormones anymore. I refuse to have surgery again. I've had 5 already, and so I'm just to the point where I want answers. So I've been doing research about endometriosis in postmenopausal women. So like women after they have hysterectomies, they aren't any better. And doctors make it seem like hysterectomies are the answer, and they're not, because too many women are still experiencing pain even well into their 70s. Like, that's crazy. And so I don't understand that, and I really want to learn more about that and really understand why doctors for some reason are still using hysterectomies as an out when it's not an out at all. And then I'm thinking about endometriosis in women of color. Women of color being African American, Black, Hispanic, Latinas, Asian Americans, and as you know, in all these groups, it's an array of categories. I mean, a woman from Spain is not the same as a woman from Puerto Rico, is not the same as a woman from El Salvador. Everyone's experiences are very different. And so the fact that, one, there's no breakdown, there's no racial breakdown. You go to any major endometriosis research center, foundation, none of them have a racial breakdown of the disease, which confuses me a great deal because this disease is horrible and it's not going anywhere, and it's in these communities, but women of color are less likely to be diagnosed because they're not going to the doctor as much, and that needs to be addressed. We are put in a position that you're told to bear your pain, and you don't have to go to the doctor that often. Get your pap and get your mammogram maybe if you have those resources. But what about the women who experience abnormal pelvic pain and not thinking that it's a serious issue? And so that's one thing that I'm really working on right now, just trying to talk to women of color and hear their experiences and what they're going through, and just really seeing the difference if there's something as opposed to their white counterparts. So I'm really just working in that realm right now. But inevitably, ultimately, I would love to get the statistics. This percent of African American women probably have endometriosis, and this percentage of African American women do have endometriosis. There's a difference. And so I really want to look into that. And so that's another research project I'm working on. I'm also working on endometriosis and relationships. And that is an interesting project for the sake of it's really looking at the psychosocial aspect of endometriosis. More than pain, this is affecting my life. This is affecting my sex life. This is affecting the relationships, my friendships, who's in my support system. All these things are wrapped up, and all the women you meet with endometriosis, these relationships are important as well. And so I'm really just looking at that and trying to get some answers, because I've read about women who talk about painful intercourse and are in long-term relationships, and their spouse or their partner is like, well, I want to have sex, and so she'll bear it. She'll close her eyes and she'll cry while she's having sex. And I'm using this as intercourse, not sex in general, because I later discuss lesbian sexuality and how that relates to endometriosis. But for the women who are with their male partners and being not always forced, but forced to have sex when they're in pain, I really think that's something that doctors should be looking into, and they're not. And so I'm going to a conference on March 18th and 19th, Let's Talk About Sex and Endometriosis, which I think is very important because there's so many things happening around endometriosis and sexuality, endometriosis and relationships, and endometriosis and sexual relationships. And those are very different. And so I'm very interested just to see what comes about when I'm at the conference. I'm going to New York, and that should be interesting. I'm really looking forward to that because, ultimately there's a story behind the diagnosis. A lot of doctors are only looking at this is the diagnosis, but what about the woman? And what about her experiences? And what about all of the things that she endures as a part of having this disease, and her lifestyle, and the daily activities she can no longer do, and the dancer she used to be, and the runner she used to be? All these things have been stripped from these women, and doctors aren't acknowledging all the time. Some doctors do, granted. Other doctors, if you don't have a visit, then you're not important. Once you've had your surgery, you've gone to your post-op, they forget about you. And it's really important for women to take the time to seek out support systems and talk about what's going on with them, because the silence isn't helping. I really ultimately want to get a narrative collection because I really believe in oral history, and the oral history of women with pelvic pain, the oral history of women with disabilities, which that's a whole other topic, but the oral history just of women who suffer from gynecologic diseases and disorders, because it's really, really something that needs to be dug into and unveiled. On the note of disabilities, so I'm reading this book right now, Ordinary Lives, and the author. But my thing is, the author is Irving Kenneth Zola. And so my thing is that endometriosis is normally overlooked as a disability. Getting disability for work with endometriosis is impossible almost. But women are suffering, and it's debilitating. I can't get out of my bed. I can't, not me all the time, but I can't get out of my bed. I can't work. I can't do what I used to do. All these things have been stripped from these women, but it's not recognized as a disability. And so the good thing about this book is it's telling narratives of people with ordinary lives, disabilities, and diseases. And so recognizing that there are chronic diseases that can count as a chronic disability. And so really looking into that, I'm really excited because I have a soft spot for disability studies, and I just haven't figured out quite how to maneuver it into my academics, but I know that it's going to happen soon because there's just way too much there, and too many women who aren't able to get the support they need when they're going through this. Because to many, it's like, well, you have surgery, come back to work. But she's going through a lot and really needs to be taken care of. So I'm just really in a place of learning and in a place of wanting to know more. And so I'm really enjoying that aspect of just having the freedom to research. But it's not quite enough, because my 22-year-old self in my room in Boston learning everything, I need to be able to share that information. So I am looking forward to this conference and sharing that. I really wish I had the finances to go to the symposium, the World Endometriosis Symposium in Atlanta at the end of March, but unfortunately I can't do both. And so I'm just really excited. I'm excited, and I'm concerned because I really want to not just benefit my own education and not just learn for myself, but I want to be able to share this information with people. So on that note, Yellow Shirt Day is coming up on Tuesday, March the 1st. So excited, 4-day countdown. And I'm really using that as a chance to educate as many people as possible. I've sent out emails and texts and Facebook messages because I really want people to know. It's my status on Twitter, it's my status on Facebook, because social media really is how we connect, whether we want to believe it or not. And so everyone wearing a yellow shirt on March the 1st and celebrating March as either Endometriosis Awareness Month or March 7th through the 13th as Endometriosis Awareness Week. Either way, it's just amazing to see that support. I remember last year for Yellow Shirt Day, all my Glee Club sisters, I was in the Glee Club in college, and everyone had on yellow, some form, whether it was jewelry or a pashmina or a shirt or anything they had that was yellow, a headband. I was grateful to see that, because knowing I have the support of my friends, it does something for you. And so now I'm in a new city, and I'm really hoping that rubs off to my new friends, and just looking forward to having that support on Tuesday. It's just, I don't know, it's hopeful, because even if they only know for that day, something's going to tell them to Google it. Someone's going to ask them why everyone's wearing yellow, and they'll be able to share that story. And I mean, it's that awareness, especially in the population of women, because women don't always know. And so just having that information and sharing that information is going to be a beautiful thing, if only for a day, a week, or a month. Just touch someone's life, I hope. So I'm in a little pain now. And so I'm gonna go and have some dinner and take some Tylenol, it's the strongest pain medicine I have in the house, and get some rest. But I just had to get that out and had to share this. And I'm not sure if anyone will ever watch this video besides me, but I think they need to, and maybe one day I'll share it. But for right now, today is February 25th, 2011, and it's about 8:35 p.m. and I'm gonna get some rest. But thank you, and I hope you learned something. Let me know if you have any questions at me. A cup D cake D, A cup D cake D, or Facebook Arielle Denise Marie. Thanks. Bye.